Well, I've got a costume for my body, so I figured, what the fuck, I might as well have a costume for my voice, right? Might as well, hi. And I come by it honestly, because my name is Sean Duggan, and my father was born in Ireland, so I'm not just, faking it or anything like that. I mean, I am faking it, but I come by it honestly. So anyway, I feel a bit naked up here, metaphorically speaking, because I'm not going to be doing any songs. I don't have any clever lyrics or jokes or puns or innuendos or anything like that. And I'm certainly not going to be playing a fucking pink ukulele, No disrespect intended to the gentleman who played the pink ukulele. It was fine, and I thought his lyrics were very witty and clever. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the importance of language and the meaning of words. And let me interject here. I've had a couple of drinks, and if my accent seems to sort of waver between Irish and Scottish, just go with it, okay? Just go with it. Anyway, so, a lot of you are designers and art directors, and so you know how important it is to craft a good message, a good visual message, and deliver the message of your client so that that message is effective and it's understood and, it moves people to buy the product, whatever, sign up for the service. It has to be an effective message. So I'm going to tell you a story that was handed down to me by my father, who was born in Ireland, in Galway on the west coast. And so, as I said, I don't have a song, but I'm going to delve a little bit into the oral tradition here of handing down stories by just passing them on. And so this is a story about the power of language, and more importantly, about the dangers of misinterpreting language and not understanding the words the right way, not understanding the message the way it was intended to be understood, which I think is very important for all of you designers and art directors and communicators. So, on Forster Street in Galway, which is where my father was bred, born, and reared, there was an old couple. And this story came to him, this happened long before he was born, happened in the old days. But there was an old couple, and they were a simple couple. They were poor, they didn't have much education, and so there was a lot of times when language in their life was a little bit misty and confusing, and they didn't know what the words meant. And so this is a story of a tragic, very tragic misunderstanding. So there's this couple, Mary Bridget and her husband Michael. And one day, Mary Bridget goes to see Dr. Murphy, annual checkup. And she comes home from her visit to Dr. Murphy. And her husband greets her as she comes in the door and says, "Now then, woman, how was your visit with Dr. Murphy? How are you doing? Are you healthy, woman?"
She says, "Oh, yes, Patty, yes, Michael, Patty. Patty was my boyfriend before Michael. Yes, Michael, I'm fine, but I'm a wee bit confused."
"Why is that now, woman?"
"Well, Dr. Murphy asked me to come back and see him tomorrow and bring in a specimen. And I don't know what a specimen is. Do you know what a specimen is, Michael?"
"Well, I must admit, woman, that I don't know what a specimen is. I've not had much learning, I don't. But I tell you what you do. You go next door and you ask Mrs. O'Hara. She's a very wise woman. She's traveled the world. She's lived in the United States of America. She's been to university. I'm sure she'll know what a specimen is." And Mary Bridget looks at him. "I can't do that. I can't stand a woman. We get in a great roaring row every time I exchange the time of day with her. I can't do that. That's a daft suggestion." No, woman, you just calm down. There's nobody else on the street who's going to know what a specimen is. She's the only one who has that sort of learning. So you go next door and you behave very politely, very courteously. You knock on her door and you ask her very kindly, what a specimen is. And you be very deferential and just very respectful. And I'm sure she'll be able to tell you, because she's a very learned woman. She's traveled the world, and she's been to the United States of America. And so Mary Bridget thought about this for a while. It took her a while to think about it, but eventually she realized that Michael was right. And so she went next door to see Mrs. O'Hara. And she was going about 15 minutes or so, and she comes back, and she walks in the door, and she's got a terrible black eye, and her mouth is bleeding, and a tuft of hair has been ripped out of her scalp, and her dress is torn, and the dirt from the road is all about her person. And she's obviously been in a serious fight. And Michael jumps up and he says, "My God, woman, what in the Lord's name has happened to you?" And she says, "Well, you know, I went over there, just like you said, and I knocked on her door, and very polite, like, you know, very polite and deferential and respectful. I said to her, I said, 'Mrs. O'Hara, I'm so sorry to trouble you and take a bit of your time, but would you please tell me what a specimen is?' And she says, 'Piss in a pot.' So I told her to shit in the road, and then we went at it." So now you know the importance of getting your message right. Thank you very much.